Hi there, I'm Neil, also known as the Hairy Man, and today I'm going to talk to you about this book which I've just got hold of. This is Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frostmaiden, and it's an adventure that is set in the Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition universe of the Forgotten Realms, obviously in Icewind Dale. Now, to avoid spoilers, I'm not going to go into the campaign, but more into the background and the other material presented, because I quite like to play this, to be quite honest. So, as the title suggests, the action in this book takes place in the cold, harsh, unforgiving environment of Icewind Dale. Now, extreme environments have been a common element of sci-fi and fantasy. He's just thinking of some examples like John Carpenter's The Thing, Hoth in The Empire Strikes Back, and Lovecraft's At the Mountains of Madness. And the same can be said for other hot environments, deserts, like Tatooine and Jakku in Star Wars, The Mummy, and Desert of Desolation, the second D&D module. Now, extreme environments, they're almost like a character in themselves, as they present a direct threat without even having to involve any monsters or creatures or NPCs. It's the environment at the North Pole will kill you probably before a polar bear gets at you. And you know, you can say the same. The heat in the desert and the lack of water. You don't even need to start bringing in mummies and scarabs and scorpions in. You know, when your dungeon master drops a plot hook that says, oh, there's the possibility of an adventure in the frozen north, or your first thoughts tend to be about how am I going to survive in the cold, rather than what do I need to survive a frost troll attack. So you know, you're more likely to go into town and go, right, I'm going to buy furs and stuff like that. So looking at the stuff in the book, the book lists some 51 creatures. Now, some of them are obviously dedicated NPCs for the adventure, but there are some entirely new creatures to 5th edition, like, say, the Cold Light Walker or the Tomb Tapper. But, you know, not all of them are sort of like rigidly, this is something that is just for an adventure in a cold climate, you know, say the Yeti cubs or the walrus or what have you. There's some stuff in here that you could pretty much drop in anywhere. So I think it's a republication of a 3rd edition monster, the Brain in a Jar. You could drops in quite well into a gothic horror setting like Ravenloft, any sort of like kind of mad alchemist and necromancer setting, and so you know, it's more than just sort of like a one-trick pony. One of the other creatures that I've seen in there that sounds quite interesting is the Vampire Gnoll. Oh, you know, more than just a regular gnoll. Oh, and you could drop that in anywhere. And moving on and looking at the items of magic that are detailed within the book. So, in keeping with the setting, there are a number of items that are just going to aid your survival in a harsh and unforgiving climate. So there's the wonderfully named Abracadabrus, which amongst other things, it can create food and drink. Cauldron of Plenty provides you with hot food, and even the Hook of Fisher's Delight feeds you more than 50% of the time I'm on the table. Thermal Cube keeps you warm, etc, etc. Now, what I did notice in here, there's a couple of scrolls that you would never, ever want to get into the hands of any of the big bad guys in your campaign. And so we've got the Scroll of Terrasque Summoning, which summons the Terrasque anywhere you can see within a 1 mile radius, and the Scroll of the Comet, which drops a comet onto a location within 1 mile that you can see. So you can imagine the effect on a campaign if somebody had their hands on even one of those and just dropped it on a major city. It would be world changing. And so there is some good scope there just in those two items for some quite interesting adventures, where obviously you're trying to either get to and destroy, or prevent the moustache twirling villain from getting hold of either of those. Now, there's only 3 new spells in this book, and most of them aren't going to really see much use outside of a very high level campaign setting, because of the 3 spells, one is 9th, one is 7th, and one is 1st level. So the 9th level spell, the Blade of Disaster, is basically a conjured blade, attacks twice for 4d12 force damage, crits on an 18 plus, and if it does, it deals another 8d12. So it's kind of situational, but there are far better 9th level spells out there. The 7th level Create Magan spell allows for the creation of a creature at the expense of lowering your maximum hit point total, or relative to the challenge rating of the creature that you create. So that's quite interesting. You know, it's quite good to play with, and you could have, it's something that you could quite easily have your sort of like NPCs have, if you want them to have maybe a slightly more interesting twists on sort of like bodyguards, familiars, and what have you. And the only 1st level spell is something that is quite similar to Burning Hands, in it's a short range 15-foot cold based cone that deals 2d8 cold on a failed Constitution save. Now, while not giving too much away spoiler wise, the book has got an interesting new mechanic for boss fights, which is very similar to some of the things that you'll have seen in video game, and in that the boss fight has several phases. Is in that you defeat the first part of the boss, and then the boss gets a new form, and they have different kinds of abilities and different kinds of weaknesses, and you have to change up your tactics. It's based on the strengths and weaknesses of the new form until you fight your way through all of the forms. Although obviously the me hit hard with stuff thing could potentially just get you through the whole thing. And now, it looks like a game that I'd very much like to play in, so I'm not going to read through the book any further than I already have. So if there is anyone out there that's up for running it, I'd be fairly interested in giving that a look. So thanks a lot for that, and I'll probably be back quite soon with a video of some other stuff that I picked up, some of the new releases of Nolzor's Marvellous Miniatures. So you can see the giant ape here. I'll give you a closer look at those in another video. So thanks a lot, stay safe everybody, and I'll see you again soon.